It'll take a second. Hey, everybody, we are live at work this time. That is so good. We had some technical difficulties earlier. I'm on with the one and only Aline Fenelon. Hello,
Yes,
Aline. How are you?
I'm doing wonderful. How are you?
Good. I'm doing excellent. So I'm going to look down for a second just to make sure we're really live, because I want to be able to see any comments that people might say. Okay, we're good. All right. So it worked this time. It did not work for my 11 o'clock show. So
Uh-huh.
that was part of the technical difficulties, but we still did it. All right. So
Awesome.
I'm excited about this topic. I want to dive into tidy up, chaos to order, from chaos to order. But I think it's good if people get to know you a little bit. So tell us about you, kind of where you're from and how you got to this journey of being the tidy up lady.
Yes, indeed. Well, I'm originally from Bradenton, Florida. So my background's Haitian. So my parents are from Haiti. So I do speak both English and Creole. And I would say I've always been organized since as a little child. I've always liked to put my toys or very neat and tidy up in a row or definitely in a beautiful little pile. So that's always been like a dream of mine to one day to actually help others to tidy up their either you we will call it chaos, but for me it's a beautiful masterpiece. So about 4 years ago, I had this vision. It was like 1 in the morning, and I was like, oh my goodness, I had this amazing name. It's called Aline Inspirations. I want to be able to inspire people to be able to bring something that they think it's like a chaos, a mess, or something that they just cannot put it together. I want to be able to make it into a beautiful masterpiece for them.
I love that. I think a lot of people are, we want that, but we don't know how to go about it. And I
Yeah.
think it's in every aspect of their lives. I know that I feel better when I actually clean up a mess and organize a mess that I've let
Yeah.
sit there for too long. I'm really guilty of that. But a lot of times I don't have the tools. So it's one thing to have the gift and the talent and the inspiration. How did you make it into a business? How did you get people to trust you and go, all right, I trust what Alina is saying? Because I'm sure there were people along the way like, well, how do you know how to do it better than me?
Exactly. That's a great question. So first I actually started off with my family and friends, and then of course spreading the word. So what I decided to do, I started to read on books because I'm like, oh, I didn't know this is actually can become a profession, and I can be an entrepreneur and make this my own business. So when I had this vision, I was like, okay, it's gonna be called Elite Inspirations. First, let me go ahead and do my studies. Like education has always been so important to my family. So I was like, okay, so I need to read the books. Okay, I need to get my certification, my license, and my permit. Because I know for sure for anybody, they always know me to trust someone who it has a permit, has a
Right?
license, and insured. So I did my research and I reached out to a mentor. One of my good best friends' mother had an actual professional organizer for 10 years. So I reached out to her and I wanted her to become my mentor. And she gave me a step away to like always make sure that you're always insured, covered yourself, number one, and start with family and friends. And then the word spreads from there. You continue to go ahead and grow your business.
I love
And
that.
I've only been open for about 8 months, and I'm loving it. Like
So
it's
let
amazing.
me ask you because I know people are going to say, "All right, well, I can go to the container store and do this myself." But as with everything else, you can buy all the containers, but if you don't do anything with them and they become another chaotic mess that you're dealing
Yes.
with, it doesn't make any sense. I love when people buy, I'm going to buy a planner at the beginning of the year, which would have been a mess for this year, but in general, a planner, and I'm going to write everything down and then the planner is blank still in June because they didn't take the time to write it down. I think we have good intentions, but a lot of times we need somebody an extra eye. So tell us some of the things, maybe some of the simple things when you first meet with a client, what you look for,
Yes.
what you're doing. Like in my mind, like I'm obviously in my house as we all are. So all I can think about are the 10 organizational plus projects I have just off to my right here, that I don't want to look at all day long that are still there from 2, 3 weeks ago. So give us some tips. What can we do? We've got this time allegedly. What
Oh
can we
yes,
do? What are some
indeed.
tips that we can do while we're all
Definitely the best tips I would definitely recommend is like good 4 steps. So the number one thing is like start with one location that's the smallest you would call the chaos, right? So we will call, let's say, the kitchen pantry. So we're gonna take the kitchen pantry, and actually I helped a neighbor actually yesterday with their kitchen pantry. I said, so first we're gonna do declutter. step number one, you want to declutter. Take away anything that's expired, anything that is you don't use anymore, take that away. Once you completely take all the declutter, empty out the entire shelves. So we completely did that. That was step number one. Step number two, at the same time you're emptying out the actual shelves, you want to go ahead and sort different piles. What you want to keep, what you want to throw away, or what you want to donate. You don't always have to throw everything away. Let's help each other. Let's help the community. We can always donate to a charity. You never know. There's like food pantries out there, even churches. They would go ahead and definitely accept that. So that was
Absolutely.
definitely for a good step for number two. And then number three, the next thing is the sorting. So after the sorting, and we're gonna go ahead and actually the real organization starts. So we're gonna go ahead and actually, okay, so what's important? The important things are gonna be in the top shelf. The bottom things are gonna be in the bottom shelf. So that way you can actually visually see these are my daily things I use in the kitchen on a daily basis on the top shelf. On the bottom, it's like, I don't really need it, but it's there because I bought it and I want to try it. And
Right.
then from there, you're going to use your containers, but label them so you know what actually are the things that are there. Clearly vision, you actually can see it there.
So let me ask, so all of that sounds awesome, and I want somebody to come do that for me. But the problem I would imagine is that if you came into my house and you asked me to label or throw things away, or what's that lady that says if it doesn't bring you joy, get rid of it.
Yes.
I have a little bit of a hoarder tendency. I like to keep everything. And so, how do you handle people's, because there's a whole mental part of this, right? I
Yes,
mean, you could
indeed.
have beans from 20 years ago that I'm going to use those at some point. I know people like this. So, how do you get through that and help them get rid of that stuff so that they can have more order in their lives?
That's a great question. The first thing I said, like, Jeffrey, cherish those moments you have, and then like, let's think about. Okay, do you honestly? We're gonna think about it in like 5 seconds. I was like, okay, do you honestly really do need it? If you actually do want to keep it, because you're like, and I get that all the time when it comes to closets, for sure. I'm gonna use this. Is one day another event or something's gonna come up. So guess what we're gonna do? We're gonna go ahead and put it like we're gonna find a new location for it because there's I don't really typically believe throw everything away, because I admit to it, I'm a little bit of a hoarder as well, but meets hoarder, because I don't like seeing a mess, but I like to find a new home for it. And then we go ahead and fold it up, making it organized and beautiful. So I wouldn't necessarily would just want to go ahead and throw it away, but I actually would tell the person like, you know what, I understand it's very important to you. We're gonna hold on to it, but we're gonna find a new place for it.
I, I'm thinking about my closet right now. So what we did recently, and not recently enough, usually it's around birthdays and Christmases, right? When you get new stuff, and then
Yes.
you're a little more motivated. And we got one of those model, where they have all the dresses and clothes that come in
Oh
where they're
yes.
trying the stuff on. We got one of those that we put in another room. But I mean, my closet's nice size. I still have stuff in there that I think, oh, I'm gonna lose enough weight to wear that, or and it's gone out of style. I really need to get rid of it. I need to go through my closet. It just feels like a big task.
It does. It does. What I typically do is set a timer. So I like to make a game out of it too because I know it gets overwhelming. Because a typical session for me would be 4 hours with a client, or sometimes the client doesn't want to do nothing with it and they want me to personally do it by myself. So what I would do the first hour, would like, you know what, I'm gonna declutter everything, right? And then the second hour, I would bring it in. I would bring the client back, and I'm like, I'm not too sure which pile. Where would you like this to be? Because I know you don't want to physically handle it, and I'll do it for you, but I don't throw anything away without your permission. So I time everything. So that way everything is
Nice.
not too much overwhelming for the client if they're with me. Or, definitely if I'm doing it, I typically make sure that it's in a timely only fashion because I like to stay within a time frame as well.
What's easier for you from your experience, having the person there or just being able to go do it and then show them, here's the throw out pile?
I would say the second option. That's the
Yeah.
easiest for me because I love working alone to be able to like, I got this because I have different visions all the time. Every time I have a new client, I'm like, oh, this is gonna be beautiful here. This is gonna be beautiful here. It's easier because it's like out of my way where it's like no, let's hold on to this. And it's going to be like 10 minutes later. We're still holding on to it. I would love to go ahead and, of course, organize it on my own. But I love to also have the client with me because it is their things.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things that they love and dear and hold on to. And I love it either way, either way. But the easiest to answer your question is on my own.
I would imagine because I would want to not be there because I would just ruin the whole process. I'm afraid the pile of things that we would get rid of would be this big, and then I'd still keep everything else. What about family memory stuff? So we have this discussion in my house all the time. Myself and one of my daughters, we like to keep everything. I have all of the ornaments they made from school.
Aw.
I have paper things that we put on the refrigerator. I'm sure they've thrown out stuff over the year, but I keep that.
Yes.
And then the other three in the family are like, you can let go of that now. It's been 25 years. So how do you handle that with, because that brings me joy. And then people go, well, it's the memory, Ted. It shouldn't be physical. And I'm like, well,
Aw.
you do you. I want to look at the little pin closed reindeer and hang it on the tree. So how do you handle that? People are attached.
Yes,
We're
they are.
attached to our things. So what do you
um,
tell people with that kind of stuff?
what I typically tell people is like, we can keep it. We can. So what we're gonna do is like, let's put in a beautiful organization box for you because it doesn't always have to be displayed. Like for example, using your example about the ornaments, right? So the beautiful reindeer ornament. So we typically, every time it's Christmas, there's a storage containers for Christmas things. So we'll put it in a little beautiful box there for you. That way it doesn't get out of your way, but you use it for that particular season.
I
I
love
had
that.
another client that I was helping with a home office where beautiful birthday cards and beautiful thank you cards they receive from their clients. And what we decided to do is make it to a beautiful artwork too. We put it in a big, beautiful frame. So it doesn't always have to be tucked away in a box, but we can go ahead and make it into something else where you can actually visually display it in your house with all those thank you cards. So I find different ways to be able to keep those keepsakes, and so we don't have to
Well, I
throw
would
it away.
imagining listening to them is listening to us crazies is the best way to start it out because then you kind of get a feel for what's really important. But I think that if you show alternative ways, that's actually really smart because I think
Exactly.
we have a separate box. I know we do a separate container for just the kids' ornaments that I won't let them throw out. And so they bring that out every year, and it's my job to put them on the tree. And they don't
That's
match the
good.
tree, they don't go with the tree. They barely fit on the tree, but I'm not getting rid of those ornaments. But
Aw.
I think people are attached. It's an emotional thing when you're getting rid of anything, I think.
It is
So
indeed.
what are you doing creative during this time? Because obviously going into people's houses is a challenge, I would
Yes, it
imagine.
is.
How are you staying creative yourself? Like what are you doing to stay positive? What are you doing to maintain your creativity?
Yes, for me, I actually doing more research. I'm coming up with different ways of how to be able to help more of my clients. Pretty soon I'll be going to go ahead and do like virtual consultations where we can probably I can go ahead and start doing Zoom meetings or we can do FaceTiming, we can do Skype. And so that's what I'm working on next is doing research of how I can go ahead and reach out to the community without actually physically being there. And my next step is what can I do once this whole academic is completely over? What can I do to continue to give back to the community? So once a month, I want to be able to give away one free session for one particular beautiful soul or beautiful actual charity event. So I'm looking other ways to be able to make a difference with my business.
I love that. I think a virtual consult would be good. I mean, people can take their phones and cameras around. I think
Yes.
if I did a consult with you, I'd have to clean up first. I'm
Oh
sure
no,
people
don't
do
clean up
that, right?
first. You gotta
No,
be
all I can think
honest
about
with
is my
it.
closet with like shirts from 19, I don't know what in there. And I
Oh.
need to get rid of those and donate those. But I don't like to let go of things. I have photo albums of the kids. I won't let
Aw.
pictures be thrown out. But I think a lot of us are like that. A
Yes.
lot of us have things. I have hats that I got from traveling that I've never
Ooh.
worn that still have the price tag on them. I'm like, oh, that
Oh.
reminds me of the trip. So what about the there's one little thought process that goes I've heard. Well, Ted, just take a picture of your item and then you'll always have the picture either on the cloud or on your phone or whatever. What do you think about that?
That's actually a really another good creative idea. You are able to go ahead and definitely take a picture of it and then donate your items because at least you had that memory, you treasure it. So that I fully 100% believe in that. Go ahead and definitely do that. But then most of my clients that I deal with, they won't let it go. So they
You
definitely won't
know,
take a picture of it.
it
So
sounds really good, but I probably would not want to let
no.
it go because then what's going to happen? I'm going to have 100 pictures,
Yes.
and then I'm not going to organize those either, and they're going to be all on
No,
my
no,
phone. And
definitely
yeah,
not.
it's just I went in and tried to organize my photos on my phone once. Yeah, that was a nightmare. I think I got through one album,
What? Oh.
but I felt a little better.
Well, that's good though. So you can declutter a little
So
bit.
what do you think people can do? Maybe one area of their house that they could start while they're in this whole quarantine part. You think a kitchen is the best, closet,
Yes.
kitchen's the best?
I honestly think the kitchen is the best because we see it everywhere. Everyone is buying things because they want to make sure they don't run out, And I definitely want to say start with the kitchen first because that's very very important. Because as you're bringing new things in from the grocery store, from any other hardware store as well, before you go ahead and put it on the shelf, take away all the old stuff, throw away all the expired stuff. Then you have more room to go ahead and actually put those new items that you actually just purchased.
What about the spices? Do you find spice racks are outdated?
No, I love spice racks. They're one of my favorites. I don't really think it's outdated. I still say definitely keep them. But I would never definitely throw away spice racks.
I love
I
it.
love them.
All right. Well, you're a joy. So, how do people reach out to you? Do you have a company web page? Do you have, I mean, a web page or a company Facebook page? How can people
Yes.
get in touch with you?
Yes, you can definitely get in touch with Aline Inspirations on my Facebook, Aline Inspirations, and also my website, www.alineinspirations.com, or also my Instagram. You can check out all my other recent projects I've recently just posted, and that's also my Instagram, Aline Inspirations.
I love it. You're a joy. Thank you so much. Sorry about the technology difficulties, but I think this is such a big, important topic. People are now confined in this space where they're having to look at that stuff all day
Yes.
long, every day. And that should be motivation enough for you to want to reach out to Aline and at least do some sort of visual consult of some
Mm.
kind because I think we could all use it. So
Oh, yes,
anything we
indeed.
can do to make things more orderly, that would be great. All right. Thanks so much, Aline. I appreciate you. We'll share the show everywhere and hope you will too. Reach out to Aline, guys. You
Awesome.
have the time.
Thank
And I know you want to be
you.
tidy. So reach out to
Thank
her.
you. Thank
All right.
you.
Thank you so much. Have a great one.
Bye.
See you guys.